The lunge is going to be one of the most important actions in fencing. It's the simplest way to deliver your point to your opponent and stab them. In these lessons, whenever I'm holding a blade, you can simply replace it by having your hand like this. Before we lunge, let's assume our guard position that we learned in the last lesson. Your sword arm, in this case my right arm, is going to be right here. Your sword arm is going to go up. You can't see my feet, but they're in the guard position. There is about a fist distance between my elbow and my side. If you don't have a blade in your hand, which you most likely don't, you can have your hand out here. Pointer finger, arm, pretend like you're holding a blade, it doesn't matter. Your back arm can be pretty difficult to find what you want to do with it. Letting it hang down here is okay. Up here is all right. I don't recommend going with the movie pose. Just what you don't want to do is bring it up here where it can be stabbed. You want to keep it back here for balance. Now that we've gone over that, we can talk about the thrust, which is the blade work part of the lunge. It's simple. Nothing's going to move but my arm. Straight out like that. Without a blade, it looks like this. Straight out. This is how you'll begin every lunge. Lunges are broken down into a 1, 2, and 3 counts to start. The first part of the lunge is going to be your sword arm. 1. It goes straight out, pointed at whatever you want to hit. 2. It's going to be your back arm. It's going to come out like this. 3 is the actual lunge itself, the piece of footwork. My back foot is going to remain where it is. It's not going to move. My front foot is going to kick off and land like this. As with every lesson, I'm going to explain a few things that can be done wrong. The first thing we're going to talk about that could go wrong with your lunge is your knee. When you lunge, your knee is going to want to be directly above your heel, and your back foot's going to be flat on the floor and straight. If you overextend, if this knee goes over your heel, you could hurt yourself, even dislocate your knee if you're really unlucky and your lunge has a lot of power behind it. If you do not do far enough, you could potentially crunch your knee, which I have done before. You want to be careful of that. You want to perfectly kneel knee over heel. The second thing that could happen is we can talk about the back foot a little bit. If your back foot comes off the floor like this, you're not only off balanced, but you could also hurt yourself. You may see some higher level fencers lunging like this. This is often because they have special shoes that allow them to do this, or they've practiced it enough so that they do not hurt themselves. Or it could just be bad technique, which even advanced fencers are prone to bad technique. The most embarrassing problem that you can have with a lunge, and possibly with any action ever in fencing, is going to be what we call a Tinkerbell. It's going to be a lunge where your back foot comes off the floor. And it looks silly, and you may think, how would anyone ever do this? But I'd say almost half of all beginners will end up doing this at some point, where your back foot comes off the floor. You're off balanced, obviously, but possibly worse than anything, you could end up with the name Tinkerbell. Another thing that could go wrong with your lunge, your back not being straight. You want your back to stay straight. We put it all together, and we've got 1, the arm assumes a thrust position. The 2, your arm flies all the way back here. 3, the footwork delivers the punch. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next lesson.